for me, like I said, it's almost like a clarion call. It's like an alarm that's not bad, but alarm that says, pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to what's going on with you. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Because what's happening inside of me is going to really influence what I see outside of me and how I'm experiencing what's outside of me and how I'm labeling sometimes what's outside of me.
When life throws a challenge at you, one thing is certain: to find a resolution for every issue, every problem, for everybody, there's more than one way. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the More Than One Way podcast. I'm Whitney Ross, and with me, as always, is my good friend Thom Rasnick.
Hey, Whitney.
Hey, Thom. How's it going?
It's going well. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Holidays, New Year, all that coming up.
All the
exciting
stuff,
times.
All the holiday stuff is just cranking full speed in my world, and I think your world too, since we just left a full speed meeting together.
We did. Yeah, Thom said he felt like he was coming out of a washing machine.
Yeah. I need to get wrung out a little bit here. That meeting was a perfect metaphor for, kind of what the holiday times feel like. Just a blur of activity and emotion and worry about getting stuff done and getting it done on time and getting it done well and how much there is and all of that. God, who can be mad at any of that? That's all good stuff in and of itself.
Yeah. All preparation and just all the things that come along with that.
Right. And then it makes for just wonderful events, whatever events you might end up going to. And it can make for, in your home, a wonderful Christmas day for the people who run around and do all the decorating and buying. And it's a beautiful thing. And, as I wring myself out from the washing machine, I come back to the same thing kind of over and over again this time of year, and that is, how does our spirituality help us get ready? I mean, we're getting ready the way we're getting ready externally. Mm-hmm. So how does our spirituality help us get ready for this time of year, the holiday times? Mm-hmm. And that's just been working me all week long.
Yeah, because the external stuff, we almost are on autopilot with a lot of that. I mean, whether it's traditions or whatever, we just go and we have to stay going.
Yeah.
With some of that, and we don't even think about some of the things, whether we're buying gifts or decorating or doing whatever, it just kind of things we know and do.
Things we know and do and love and that are wonderful, but that, aren't the only things. Mm-hmm. Once again, so none of this is what I'm talking about is bad, good. It's just a matter of, well, where does this come into play? And by spirituality, what I'm trying to get at is kind of our personal way of understanding ourselves and the world that we live in, the nature of life. That's what I mean by spirituality. So it's really our deep, deep worldview, and that includes, really at the center of it, is how we view ourselves, how we see ourselves in the midst of all this stuff that we're doing. So kind of our spirituality has everything to do with who we are, how we understand ourselves in a deep, deep way, and as deeply as possible.
And that can be a challenge just even day to day, just in a kind of our normal cycle or time of year.
Yes.
So what does that look like in a time when things have just ramped up?
Yeah, well, so then for me, like I said, it's almost like a clarion call. It's like an alarm that's not bad, but alarm that says, pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to what's going on with you. Mm-hmm. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Because what's happening inside of me is going to really influence what I see outside of me and how I'm experiencing what's outside of me and how I'm labeling sometimes what's outside of me. So, the thing about this spiritual stuff and paying attention, it's so very personal. It's a very, very personal thing, and it's unique to the person. Yeah. And so the best way that I can try to get at this is tell you the way I go about it and how I look at it, and if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So how my spirituality helps me, and I think it can help others, starts with this really deep self-awareness. So really paying attention to self. What's going on with you? What's happening? Okay. Mm-hmm. And Christmas time, and as we just were talking about, the meeting fits right into it, is so externally exciting. It can feel frenetic, or frantic to me. Okay, then now that sounds like a judgment, but I really don't mean it as a judgment.
No, you can still be good, but be
that's right.
frenzied.
That's right. Yeah. And it's how I'm experiencing it. Somebody else might not experience as being frantic. They might just be experiencing as, wow, this is great.
Yeah, how fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why this is about self-awareness and not comparing self to somebody else or, feeling worse or better than somebody within this. So, so around Christmas time, working in a church, we're very, very busy doing things. And on Christmas Eve, so if we move right toward the whole Christmas Day thing, I don't get home till usually 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe even later sometimes. Okay. And so get to bed, do what you do, and then get up early usually because people like to get up early for Christmas. And there's a lot of activity and a lot of noise. Okay. Now, if I'm not paying attention to myself, here's a perfect setup for becoming, I think this is the only way that our culture can understand it, for becoming a Grinch. Right? And with the whole idea of noise, all the noise, and it's not that.
Okay.
It's not that I fall into negative unless I'm not paying attention.
Gotcha.
When I'm paying attention to myself, what I realize is, I'm tired. Not just physically tired, but I'm mentally, emotionally drained. Okay. So I have to own that. If I try to pretend that's not true, I'm headed to the Grinchville.
Which is we do that. I mean, it's easy to fall into that pretending for sure.
Yeah. And what's that all about? You think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's, I think sometimes we feel like it's just easier just to go along.
Yeah.
But that takes its toll too.
It does.
Internally. So
in the self-awareness piece, it's okay. I want to go along. I want to be with these people because I care about them. I love them and I want to be right. But at the same time, if I try to do what they're doing when I'm in the place that I'm in, it doesn't work. Like I said, it's like awkward as hell, or it comes out just real negative.
Yeah.
See, but the thing is, self-awareness doesn't have to be negative. It's, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm like. So what can I do with that?
Yeah.
How can I take care of that, knowing I want to be a part of this?
Right.
All right. Even though it's a, as we said before, it's kind of like a washing machine. It's just going all over the place.
And it's great because we're getting things clean, but it's a crazy ride.
It's a crazy ride. So for me, the self-awareness piece then goes into the next piece, which is self-care.
Okay.
So, and nothing is clean like this. Nothing just goes exactly like this, but this is hopefully the helpful piece. It has been for me and is for me. So self-care is, I'm emotionally and I'm mentally spent. That's true. I'm the kind of person who needs quiet at times, who needs solitude at times. This probably isn't the best time for that. Okay? So ideally, I would get up before everybody and meditate. But that's not going to happen because I got home the way I did.
Late, yeah.
So self-care starts with, and I really did, the Grinch is going to come into this a lot. Because I really got a lot from the newish Grinch that they showed, and the little girl, Cindy Lou Who, she tells the Grinch one time in order to kind of feel how to feel deep and warm and kind of connected is the way I was hearing her inside, is to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And
Because that's not in the older one, right?
I know, it's not in the older one. I think they know how hectic people, the new writers of the Grinch, And so she, there's a scene and she's standing outside with everybody and they're doing that Who song, and they're holding hands. And she does just that. Her eyes are closed really tight and she's doing her little mindfulness breathing, even though she doesn't call it that. And this big smile just comes on her face. And the truth of the matter is, though it might not be quite that magical, the same thing happens with me. When in the midst of being with a bunch of people and I can't get away to do that, you know, it's, okay, close your eyes just for a minute and breathe.
So that's your self-care.
That's my self-care.
In that moment.
Yeah. Because breath is like the spiritual elixir. It just does something to us.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and we can have scientific proof and all of it. You know, I would say I have experiential proof. I know that I'm in a different place when I take some time to do some true, mindful, deep breathing. And for me, I can do it right there. So that's one piece of the self-care.
Yeah.
And the second piece is to remind myself it's okay to be quiet. I don't have to be the one talking. I can be the one listening. I can be the one paying attention. I can be the one engaging with something in a way that's different than what I'm experiencing as frenzy. I don't have to run around. Okay? I don't have to be the one that says the clever thing, the witty thing, the funny thing, the whatever thing. I can just be the one who sits there and pays attention. And I've had to really come to terms with that, but it's a great self-care tool for me, and it really kind of puts my ego in a good place. It's like, I don't have to draw the attention.
Yeah.
I can let others have that. So those two are two big ones that I use, but the idea is once I become aware of myself and the kind of person I am and the kind of state that I'm in, then I can do something to care for that, that then helps me.
Yeah. So it's a process.
Yeah. So that I don't become, I'm going to start judging this, or I'm going to start judging me. Why can't I jump in? Why can't I just be happy like everybody else? The whole Charlie Brown thing.
And I think that's a real reality of the time of year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of pain around this time of year too.
There is.
You know, and for some people, you know, we talk about different way, you know, more than one way to experience things. There may be some people that it feels too quiet.
Yeah.
Because maybe their house isn't as full.
Yeah.
Or maybe they weren't able to travel to be with family, or, you know, and so for them, they may need some activity or something to kind of come into that silence. So, I mean, it's obviously there's more than one way.
That's right. That's right. That's why I say this is deeply, deeply personal.
Yeah.
And that's why the idea of self-awareness and self-care from this perspective is not selfish. It's life-giving, so that then therefore you can become a part of life. You're a part of life in the way that, and I can do it in the way that I need to do it.
And your silence isn't pulling away from what's happening.
No.
It's really your way of leaning in.
Yes, that's right.
Which is really cool. You know, that because you know yourself and you know that's the way that you can participate and contribute to that, is versus having to feel like you're putting on an act or finding yourself in anger or judgment or whatever else.
Versus any of those things. And and it's, you know, for me, it's kind of like Silent Night. You know the song Silent Night? Yeah. Well, one way to see Silent Night is everything is externally perfect. But another way to see Silent Night is I find that still, silent, calm place within myself. And when I find that place, I find what the song's singing about. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Okay, so that's why, to me, this is what spirituality has to offer, the very active way that we go about Christmas, which is all good, right? And so then ideally, then after self-awareness and some self-care, then I can really give myself, self-giving. I can really give myself to the moment, which is what I really want, and really all we ever really have is the moment that we're in. And can I be totally and completely present in that moment as myself? And I can when I'm doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. Right? And like you say, somebody else, it might be something different. But the hope And that's a big one to come to terms with just for everybody. What are you hoping? Mm-hmm. What do you want to happen?
Yeah, especially as we're going through a holiday and a new year and just kind of looking ahead.
Yes, looking ahead, because not only Christmas, but when you move into something like the new year, it's like we have all these expectations and all these hopes.
Absolutely.
And all
same kind of energy again.
That's right.
Starts to come up.
And all these things that come flying at us, giving us suggestions about what we should do.
Right.
Or how it should be. Or what it's supposed to look like.
Yep.
And if that's what you want, okay. But just be aware that that's what you want.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, what I know I want is to be completely present. As cliche-ish as that can kind of sound, I really mean that. And all spiritual traditions get at that because it's so powerful. Yeah. When you really are. Yeah. When I really am. Right there, not going anywhere, not running anywhere, not thinking about something else. That's right, yeah. Right there in the moment. And truth, from the Christian perspective anyway, that's what Christmas is all about anyway.
Right.
The full self-giving in the tradition of God in Christ, which then to me trickles down isn't the best way to think about it, but moves out into us so that we can be like that too, the full self-giving of ourselves to each other. And we experience that fullness in addition to the fullness of all the decorations and all the presents and all the food, all wonderful things.
But they all point to that, really.
Yeah, in the end.
That's kind of the whole idea of all of those things, all of that preparation is, in reality, especially in that Christian mindset, is to try to get us to that point. To
get us to, can we give ourselves to one another? And know that that's enough.
Yeah,
that's what we really, 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 in the end, I think, really want. Is to be known and to know others.
With that genuine connection.
Yeah. With a full, beautiful, and once again, and that carries over not past Christmas into New Year's and into every day to some degree. But when we have, the explosion of holidays, to me it gets even more, it's for me, let's put it on that. For me, it's even more important that I really pay attention to myself so that I at least have a good shot. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't pay attention and I just go along with what I think the society tells me I'm supposed to, or
catch
what
the
somebody
wave and ride it.
Yeah, then I'm telling you, for me, the Grinch, I think that's where the Grinch comes from.
Maybe.
It's like, well, what I mean is, metaphorically speaking, that shrinks my heart.
Yeah.
That shrinks me. I get smaller as I try to think of what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the Grinch is, how do you make your heart bigger, not smaller?
Yeah. And
that's
again,
Christmas.
like you've said, it's unique.
It is
to each person.
It is. I guess it would be easier if there were 10 easy steps or a formula or a manual.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like raising kids, raising children. There isn't one. Okay, you can get some help here and there, but by and large, you just got to do it and try and do the best that you can. To me, it's the same with life. It's the same with this stuff. Mm-hmm. There isn't a manual. There's nobody else to compare yourself to. Your life is unique to you.
Yeah.
And see, that's saying something about my spirituality when I say it like that.
Okay. That's
saying something about the way I understand myself and the way I understand the world. Mm-hmm. Sure, all people want certain things. We all have that in common. We all want to have clean water and fresh air and enough food and education and health care. Sure, we all want that. Mm-hmm. But when we get further and further into the individual, we're unique. And we're each having our own unique experience of life. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's what I really want to, that's who I want to meet. I want to meet people and have them tell me their unique experience. And let them, hopefully they will want me to tell mine.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what the whole thing's about. And so self-awareness, self-care, that leads to self-giving. And like I said, never goes that cleanly. It's never that easy. There's a lot of bumps within it. Yeah. But bumps are part of it.
Right.
Right. So that, for me, Whitney, there it is. That's how my spirituality, anyway, helps me throughout these holiday times.
Yeah.
I really want to reemphasize how important it is to know yourself. That because
that's where all of this kind of comes.
Everything comes out of that.
Yeah.
You know, self-care comes out of knowing myself. If I just want to be like everybody else, let's just put it that way, you know, and somebody says, well, self-care means a luxurious bath with bonbons and champagne.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I would say. No thanks.
Yeah.
That's not it for me.
Yeah.
That's not going to do anything. It might feel good for a little bit, but that's not it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why it's so personal. To try to put mine and then put it on somebody, it might work, but it's not as good as if the person does their own self-awareness work and then recognizes. A lot of it too is, you know, paying attention to what do I hope my holidays are going to be like. So becoming aware of that, which I think comes with self-awareness, and then that'll give you a better sense of then what comes after.
So it seems like some of what you've described is a lot of it is asking questions of yourself.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're kind of questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Around, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you've got the answer right away.
Right.
It's just you're sitting with that.
That's right.
And considering that.
Yep. So like, you know, New Year's is coming up. So I was thinking there's another way to apply it. And I've never really enjoyed New Year's. But when I was younger, I felt like, well, you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Right? So you're supposed to go out.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to drink a lot.
Stuff, yeah.
And you're supposed to find somebody to kiss at midnight. And then, yay.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I mean, okay, there's a plan. And if that's your thing, cool deal.
Yeah.
It's never been my thing. Right? And it took me a long time to get to the point of, that's not my thing. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
So maybe you ask yourself, what is my thing?
Yeah,
if
what's
it's not
thing?
that, what would my thing look like?
And what does it look like for you to kind of get to the point of where you can be fully present wherever you happen to be?
Yeah. So I have a friend that was talking about that as far as New Year's and kind of saying they weren't necessarily a night kind of person with all the stuff going on. And so one thing that they've found that they like to do is each kind of New Year's morning, they get up early and go out on their own for a hike and just, you know, enjoy that and maybe find a spot along that hike just to kind of sit and enjoy the environment that they're in. And that for them is kind of their ritual or tradition of how they celebrate. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. That's, you know, a different way for that person that they've found to really engage with and be present.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's the finding.
Yeah.
So you find it. And my guess is once that person does that, makes for a better New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Than if you try to force yourself to go out and stay up and I've got to watch the ball drop and, you know, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life isn't a formula. That's yeah. So self-awareness leads to self-care, which then I hope leads to giving of self.
So as you find your way through your own holiday traditions and experiences, we hope you have time to kind of pause for your own thoughts about your own hope for what you hope to experience and find and be in those moments. And we'd love, as always, we'd love for you to share with us if you have some thoughts about that or ways that you've found to do that. We'd love to hear those and share those because those can be helpful for others as well. So we hope you have a wonderful holiday time and we hope that you'll join us again.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the More Than One Way podcast, brought to you by the Center for Spiritual Practice in Knoxville, Tennessee. We really appreciate your time and would love to hear your feedback. You can reach us by emailing hello@morethanonewaypod.com, or you can connect with us on social media using the handle @morethanonewaypod. If you found this episode helpful, we hope that you'll share it with your friends, with your family, with people you work with all the people who you know. Thank you, and take care.